Here at Hastings, I was given the expectation that to do history, I needed to do something with it. I couldn't just write something for other historians to read. My name is Laurel Teal. I graduated with the class of 2017, and I'm currently with Colorado Parks and Wildlife. When I left Hastings College, I went on to receive my master's in American history from Boston College, where I studied under Heather Cox Richardson. And then I went on to get my master's in public administration with a focus on natural resource management at the University of Colorado at Denver. When I left Hastings College, I was on a PhD track. I thought I was going to finish up my PhD out in New England. I was going off to Boston College. For a year or so, I was very interested in popping across the river to the Little Red Schoolhouse of Harvard. But within about a year and a half or so in New England, I started to, one, miss the West. That's my home region. That's what I always wanted to go back to and serve. And then two, get really, really frustrated with how closed academia was out there in terms of not working with other disciplines, not trying to do outreach to the public, which for me defeats the purpose of learning history or doing anything tied to the environment. At that time, I had just finally started touching on water management and the history of water in the West, and I couldn't stand learning about and working with such a critical resource without actually doing something of worth besides publishing papers for peer review. Here at Hastings, I was given the expectation that to do history, I needed to do something with it. I couldn't just write something for other historians to read, which is ultimately what eventually drove me to leave Boston College, forego the PhD program, and get another master's in resource management. I finished into the middle of the pandemic. I initially thought I was going to be doing water policy, and I do, just not the way I thought. I needed to find some work when things started to open after the pandemic, and I found work at a state park that I had loved ever since I was a little girl. They brought me on as a seasonal doing administrative and visitor services stuff. And now I just finished one of our most popular public history programs, and I'm about to be shuffled into Chatfield State Park, which is one of Colorado's big three in terms of revenue and attendance, to launch their interpretive programs there, build up their exhibits when it comes to the role of Chatfield Park and Reservoir in Colorado's water supply, and then talk a little bit about the really, really awesome Ice Age megafauna fossils that we have just lying around the place. I remember when I came here as an undergrad, especially as a freshman, I was very much like, I have to receive the training to go on to do the big things. The most valuable classes I feel I had weren't just in my chosen disciplines of history and poli-sci. It was glass blowing that really changed how I can see the world. It was Dr. Beachley's natural history courses that actually I think nudged me onto the path of career that I'm on now. It was the experience of brushing up with Hastings media, working in the radio, working on the speech and debate team, that I think made me into a communicator that could eventually hold a lecture hall of 250 kids at Boston College, or hold the attention of parks visitors in the middle of a hot day in the summer. Just follow what feels good and don't be afraid to try on everything the college has for size. You might be surprised at what fits, or at the very least, you might have a fun time doing it.